31st, 2004. Crack. It's the sound a rocking chair makes when one of the rockers breaks off. It's also the title of a short animated film made in 1980, which won the Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film in 1981. Cecily and I stumbled across the 15-minute film years ago when it was used as filler on the late lamented Z Channel in LA. Crack tells the story of a French-Canadian family from pioneer days through the modern industrial era, all through the eyes of a rocking chair made by hand by the patriarch of the family. The father has carved a face in the crest rail, and with smiles or frowns, the chair watches all that goes on around it. Children are born, and they are rocked in their mother's arms in the chair. As they grow, they use it as a plaything, their imaginations metamorphosing the chair into a sleigh, a fort, a locomotive, whatever their little minds can conjure. At night, the family sits around the fire, lost in individual reverie, huddled near father, as he rocks and smokes his pipe. Seasons pass. Children grow and wed. At a wedding dance, the old ladies rock in the chair and watch the young folks celebrate. And when the chair is old and rickety, just like the man who made it, finally one of its rockers breaks. Crack. Yet there's life in and for the old chair, and though the world around the rocking chair transforms with the passing years into something not so pretty or bucolic or likely to render tender memories, eventually the life that the chair has seen, the glories and warmth and security of family and love and community find their revival, and the resonance of the brief story lingers long, long afterward. Something about this little movie touched me and Cecily deeply. The joys of family love and tradition that she longed so for in her life were beautifully presented in Crack. The music, French-Canadian folk-type music, was redolent of a quieter, more peaceful and communal time. The detail of the animation, the quirks in the little chair's face, the subtle shifts of mood made this one of the most treasured experiences Cess and I had together. We saw it many times on the grainy videotape I'd made of it, accidentally captured at the tail end of some movie in the mid-'80s. Eventually, I found it on DVD, and we saw it again, this time with new appreciation for the artistry and color. I'm certain that in all the many times we saw this little film, there was not one time that Cess didn't turn to me afterward and slowly dissolve into tears. Everything she ever wanted in her life was somehow literally or figuratively captured in this little strip of animation. The continuum of love and family, the resonance of happy times that she always believed lingered inside inanimate objects, the traditions of shared affectionate life that she so hoped to create in her own world, all of it was there. She cried with happiness and longing and with sadness too, every single time she saw it. We discovered this little film a few months before we got married. When we came home from our wedding, sitting in the middle of our living room was a richly dark cherry wood rocking chair with spindle stiles and a crest rail broad enough to carve a face in. In our 19 years together, Cecily gave me many, many gifts that took my breath away and left me in tears. I think in all our nearly 2 decades, this rocking chair was the only time I ever really returned the favor. She knew instantly what it was and what it represented. I don't think I ever saw her cry harder for joy. Tonight, as I lay with Maddie listening to her drift snufflingly off to sleep, I began thinking of videos that Maddie might enjoy, now that she's near to outgrowing some of her favorites. I remembered the DVD with Crack on it, and I wondered how long it would be before Maddie could appreciate that film in something like the way her mother had. And of course, then I began thinking about the film itself and its depiction of a young husband and wife starting their lives together, having their family and building their home, and growing old together with such love and tenderness for one another and such interdependence, such shared support as their hair grew white and their paces slowed. And I thought of how much Cess wanted that, and how much I wanted it with her, and how difficult it is to imagine growing old without her, how unutterably sad it is to walk that road alone without the one who made my soul sing. It's the sound a heart makes. August 2nd, 2004. This morning, Maddie had a 3-hour assessment by the school district. Although I missed Cess dreadfully, partly because she would have loved to have seen Maddie's progress and the fine impression our daughter made on the assessors, but partly I missed her because no fact of Maddie's life escaped Cess, and the assessors asked all kinds of questions I couldn't answer. They wanted to know when Maddie first sat up, first walked, first spoke. I could provide little more than, a couple of years ago sometime. Cess would have said she first sat up at 2:30 p.m. on Tuesday, February 16, 2002. She might have had to look it up in one of the journals she kept on Maddie's development, but she'd have had the information. If I knew where those journals were, I could go in and tell you what Maddie had for lunch on that day. Today didn't allow me to feel like a good mother, at least as Cess would have defined it. And in so many ways, Cess did define it. Yes, she was neurotic and obsessive, but with Maddie, those were just extreme forms of determination and devotion. The assessors today were trying to determine Maddie's vocabulary and enunciation. They showed her some toys and asked her to name them. She did well with a cow and a ball and even a yo-yo. Then they put a little yellow toy vehicle with big knobby tires in front of her. Maddie stared at it and said nothing. They asked again. Still nothing. With slightly raised eyebrows, one of the assessors said to the other one in a whisper, "I guess it's just too much for her to say truck." Maddie looked at her and said, "It's not a truck, it's a bulldozer." You know, even if she were a tantrum-throwing, snotty little brat, I'd love her. But this is a piece of cake. Angel food. July 25th, 2004. Tonight I was